Hi, my name is Eric Ryden, certified sommelier and owner of Le Grand Triage on the Upper East Side. Today we're going to talk about aged wine, and whether you realize it or not, it's actually why a lot of wine professionals and wine aficionados even get into this stuff to begin with. It is really kind of one of the more sought after flavors that people look for in wines. And I want you to listen as I read this absurd tasting note I wrote many years ago about an aged bottle of wine, probably in my top 5 favorite things I've ever tasted. Here's the tasting note. Get ready to vomit as I wax poetic about this beautiful elixir one calls 1980 Opus 1. Delicious right out of the bottle. Beautifully composed with delicate notes of dark berries and sour cherry that's harmoniously complemented by a touch of vanilla, clove, and cinnamon. As smooth and soft as I imagine any wine can be, while retaining its power and poise like a beautiful nude Grecian sculpture. All right, so that's kind of what we aspire to look for in a bottle of wine. Something that is masculine, feminine, it's everything that we ever want. All the things all at once, simultaneously in the bottle. That's what aged wine is about, and that's why people spend top dollar looking for it over and over and over again. So how do wines age? If you've seen some of our other videos, one of the ways that wines can really age dependably is through a structure of what we call tannins. Tannins, palpably, when you take a sip of a bottle of wine, they like suck the moisture right out of your mouth. Sometimes so intense they could you'd lose an actual filling or something. But tannin is not the only structure on which we rely to age wines. We have tannin, but we also have acidity, right? Think like citric acid. If you're canning something, you can actually have something in citric acid aging in your fridge or even on your counter for quite a while, right? So we have tannin, we have acidity, and we also have sugar, right? Sugar is also a really reliable structure on which we can age wines. Think dessert wines, even certain champagnes, right, are gonna have enough sugar to age them for a very long time. So we've got tannin, we've got sugar. So when we talk about tannin as our structure for aging wines, one of the world's most famous examples is Bordeaux. And we actually popped open a 1975 Bordeaux in another video. If you didn't get a chance to watch it, click here, I don't know, somewhere, and you'll watch it. But anyway, it's a really good explanation on how tannins are this basis of aging wines, right? Bordeaux, one of the most famous examples, and probably because of the grapes that are used to make the wine. Cabernet Sauvignon, one of the most famous grapes that's used to make those blends. They are chock full of tannins, and it's what provides that huge tannic structure for the wines of Bordeaux. Acidity, the other one we talked about, one of the most famous examples is Burgundy, also located in France. These wines, mostly Pinot Noir is what we're talking about here. They have huge amounts of acidity. If you've seen some of our other classes, we usually talk about acidity as this component that you can physically feel in the back of your mouth here. But basically they have enough acid that they rely on acidic structures from which to age. Now, what's really cool about the wine that we brought today is that instead of relying entirely on tannins and entirely on acid, we actually have a wine that's relying on both. So instead of these extreme amounts of tannin and extreme amount on the other end, we actually just have modest amounts of both tannin and acid. What it does is it creates a wine that ages in a very different way than what we're used to with these historic French regions. So let's go ahead and taste this thing. So, wow, nice and acidic, really fresh. You get a lot of fruit notes, blueberry, boysenberry, blackberry, almost even like a jam or a compote, or even like a fresh blueberry pie, something like that. On the nose, I got a lot of like a balsamic note, maybe even a little of this damp forest floor, muddy sort of character, a little of gun smoke, gun flint, something like that, black pepper in that whole world. And what's really beautiful about this wine is all of those ridiculous, you probably don't even believe them, non-fruit things that I just described. Usually for an aged wine, a lot of those non-fruit flavors are at the expense of our fruit flavors, right? So they kind of absolutely take over and they're like, yo, fruit flavors, sit down, right? Like, move over, let the big boys play. And what's really beautiful about this wine is that there's actually this amazing integration between those non-fruit flavors and our fruit flavors. And that's really what we look for in these aged wines. And that's what people are accustomed to paying top dollar for. So this wine, mostly Cabernet Sauvignon, with a splash of Barbera out of Piedmont. What's really nice is Cabernet Sauvignon naturally brings us high levels of tannin, but in colder climates, we're actually raising our acidity levels. And that's why we get both of these things that Cabernet Sauvignon wouldn't necessarily have on its own in California, or let's say blended in the historic wine growing region of Bordeaux in France. Specific bottling we're talking about is from a producer called Odero. Odero is in Piedmont. They normally make a lot of Barolos, but in this case, they're making a cab-based blend with just a little bit of Barbera. One of the neatest features of this wine is they actually stopped production on this bottling quite a while ago. So a little bit of a collector's item, since you can no longer find this specific cab-based blend, regardless of vintage, out in the marketplace. We were super excited to get our hands on this because unfortunately, due to the current circumstances, a lot of restaurants had to close down, and this wine was actually allocated for restaurants only. And so we were actually able to get our hands on a good amount of it and kind of bring that to you guys for $50, right? Only $50 for what would normally be a much more expensive wine. So anyway, hop on our eShop, grab a bottle, and also don't forget to check out our Zoom classes. They've been a ton of fun. You know who I'm talking about. And anyway, let us know if you guys have any questions or if you have tried this, what you thought about it too. Last but not least, join us Wednesday. When? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Wednesday, Sarah's got some really fun local whiskeys for you guys. And then of course, stay safe and stay home.